Alright.
Not Julie's birthday.
Huh?
Just
Well,
like
that one
for the
time.
agenda. Go ahead, Kira. You ready? Okay, so the time is
I'm Julie.
6:02, and I call the December 13th meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, citizens' comments. We have none. So we have minutes. There's 2 minutes.
It's at 1, right?
1 minute.
Yeah.
It's a special meeting because you did the special meeting for the last.
Then you can't vote on it.
So the only minute, we already approved the minutes for the 22nd, so we just have the one for the special meeting.
I printed it.
Yeah, I know you did. I don't know where I put it. Oh, there it is, December 1st. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, so you made the motion and I'll second to approve the minutes of that meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
You're abstaining. You weren't here.
Abstaining, I wasn't here.
Okay. So they're approved. Correspondence and announcements. We received the rent for $10 towards the rent for Wiley School. It's towards the lease. We have a contract with the Historical Society where they pay a lease of $1 a year for 100 years until I don't remember when it's at. There's 100 years from.
When did it start? It's probably long after our tenure.
Yeah, it is. So and
If it's original today, it would be 1970. Or thereabouts, if that's.
no, I think, yeah, 1970, I think is when they, so 100 years from then, so.
48 years we can foreclose.
So it was $10 towards the $1 a year rent. I sent a receipt, so they are paid until they don't, their next payment's not due until 2039.
So,
Because they had already paid $10 before, so they're just
Prepaying.
prepaying for
Very
more in
generous.
the future, so
Wouldn't it make sense for them just to
pay the
pay
100,
the $48 at the end of the lease?
right?
well, they just saved themselves the increase in postage, going
Yeah.
to 60 cents.
That's all I have. Public Works. Oh, I wanted to add some things to the agenda before I go along anymore. I wanted to add the snow policy updates under the Public Works part. I wanted to add the our legislative agenda under new business.
At the end,
Yeah. And I wanted to add executive session to the way end to talk about, what are we talking about?
457.
Yeah, about the 457 and, plan.
I make a motion to add snow policy, legislative agenda, and executive session for 457 plan.
Second.
That's, the motion's been made and seconded to add things to the agenda as said. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, approved. All right, so we're on the Public Works report and we're on the snow plow policy. This is just an update of our existing policy. I'm still working on the like editing part of it, which is just, you can tell the last couple of pages are a little flustered. I didn't finish the editing part, but all of the information's there. The changes, I gotta find my copy. The changes that were made include the contractor responsibilities was added under plow routes. Before it just said Denison Hill Road, but Denison Hill Road, the transfer station and the school are all contractors. And The rest of the changes were mostly just edited changes. I took out dates, years, because they, this is actually put together by Public Works, and I just, have updated it and worked on it with them. They did all the information in it. I took out any reference to dates for years, because we just have to update that every year, and that just seemed irrelevant, so. And those are the only big changes that we made. Everything else was just textual and like rewording things, how it was explained. Like we did on the right on the okay, remind me to put page numbers on it.
What's the heading?
The heading is unimproved roads and bus turnarounds.
Yep.
So on that page, the right of way encroachment, like title was added because these were ways of things encroaching on the town space. So that was added, and then it was more specified as encroachment. So.
Okay, I guess I won't be snowballing my snow onto the road.
But those are the only,
Was a scofflaw, I had no idea.
those are the only changes that were made. Everything else was just change, like editorial changes.
Right.
So if we just want to approve the updates.
You don't have to get through the whole reading of it and then.
No, because the whole thing's already been approved.
That's, you
We're
need to
just
approve it.
approving the updates, which I just told you all the ones I did, so.
Motion to approve
Okay.
updates.
Motion and seconded, okay, any discussion on them?
No.
No, all approved, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, the snow policy updates are, so we'll get that out to the people. Next, Julie's not here for the finance report, but you just got a copy of the treasurer's report. So you can read that, and Julie might know the answers. Tony went home. Left already, so he's not here then. So like it says, everything's been moved to the new Citizens Bank platform for the security updates and the check deposits.
Ooh, yeah, $2,700 in interest income.
Yeah, and he has taken, what did it say, from 12 accounts down to 4. And he's been able to shift things around, so we're actually making money now that we weren't before. So
Yeah, 3452 and 2700.
yeah, so he's doing good.
I don't know how much you did.
Put it all into crypto. We'll double our money in a month.
Yeah. So that's his update. We can get back to Julie if she has anything. So old business for the ARPA funds. The radios.
That's the big item. Have we had movement?
Yes, I got the new quotes for the radios. And they are up. I think Julie said we set aside 220,000 for the radios. The new quotes are 232,771,069 cents. So we're over. So we just have to
Order fewer radios.
adjust our ARPA funding. I think we have a line item for, the generator. The generator at the garage, we haven't acted on that yet, so we can move that to capital projects. And add some of that money to the move it to the other. Yeah.
We need the radios.
We need the radio
And unfortunately, the price has gone up.
gone up, and the radios benefit. They benefit the school, the public works, and the fire department, so they're
Which they're currently not on the same system.
right, and it's all safe for safety, so it's a win-win.
You did have finance.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You
So-
want to skip it tonight, you can.
So if we vote on appropriating the 232, like probably rounded up to 233 for the radios, and just put the generator
Take
like
the
on-
generator off the,
off the list, we can do that.
mhm.
Okay.
Take it off the list and move it to the capital projects.
Yeah, we can use capital spending.
Which is the generator.
I think we put 50,000 for that, just because the generator. We gotta figure out, the generator would attach to the garage, but we also want it, that's where the fuel tank is back there, so we're gonna need the fuel, and if the power's out the fuel tank, we need that to run all the emergency stuff too, so.
Right.
That could affect the cost.
That needs to be done.
Yeah. Yeah,
So let's do it.
okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
A motion to, you guys have to say the motion.
The requisite funds, an additional, what was it, $13,000?
Yep, to two,
$233,000 to purchase the radios owing
Yeah.
to the cost increase.
Yeah.
That was unforeseen.
Yeah.
And to move the budgeted amount from the ARPA funds over to the capital fund
Yeah.
for the generator
yeah,
project.
to move the generator project to the capital fund. Yeah.
second motion, Joe, to
Repeat
approve
that.
additional 13K, move the generator off to capital projects.
Okay, any discussion?
No,
No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstain. All right, that's good. Thank you.
the generator is going to run off of what? Diesel or?
Propane.
Good.
So.
Make more sense though to just do it off diesel. But you got diesel up there.
I don't know.
Otherwise you have another.
Well, we have to.
No, you'd
it's
have to have
gonna
a
be more-
separate,
Yeah, we have to have the separate tank already ready and full to be ready for the generator.
that's separate just for the generator.
That's separate just for the generator.
So if you did diesel, it'd be the same thing.
It'd be cheaper. Radio, no updates on the well, no updates on ordinances, no updates on the bridge. Any updates on the ISP committee?
No,
Nope.
no one's come in, and I have not yet reached out to the two individuals that I want to.
Okay, the meeting house demolition, there's.
Yeah, where's that?
Tomorrow,
It's happening
it's
when?
been raining, so they haven't been able to do anything, but
Gonna happen tomorrow?
tomorrow is when they're supposed to be starting with the abatement.
Oh,
So. That's tomorrow.
Oh, just be the tenting.
Yes,
Did we already get, the go ahead from the neighbors, get their permission?
they're
for-
working on, they do all that, so,
Oh, okay, we don't have to, excellent.
nope. I asked, and we don't have to do anything. Except for there was one thing I had to do, and it wasn't even that big, and I think I did it already, so we were good.
Well, good job.
I was like, oh, you did that.
Yeah, move on. It's done. no
And
more.
then I didn't have to do anything. All right, the Gate Street Recreation Master Complex plan, we're working on the first meeting. I just got dates from the guy today, and I gotta pass them on to the committee people and do a poll to see when they can go. But I do have a member to appoint. So the Elderly Commission would like to appoint Mary Sullivan to the Gate Street Master Complex Plan.
Was she the master gardener? who
Yeah.
does all the work? That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
So we just need a motion. and a
So
second
moved.
Motion,
Second,
okay,
Point Mary
to
Sullivan.
appoint Mary. Yep.
yes.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor of appointing Mary to the committee, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained. All right, Mary's appointed.
Both house.
Yes. No updates on the steep. The Voluntown Fire Station improvement design. Interview, we just set up interviews for two of the companies that the committee chose. And those interviews are next Monday at 6 at the fire department. And that's the end of,
Next Monday at 6.
Yeah.
Did you want us there?
if you want to go, you can go. It's the committee. It's
18.
19th.
19.
Oh, 19 Monday. Right? At 6.
Monday is our Christmas party.
Oh, yeah, Monday's the Christmas party here too for lunch. We have lunch.
You really want me down there?
Okay, we have food. We have lots of food. Everyone bring something.
I haven't completed my sexual harassment training. I'm not sure I'm allowed. Did you look at that? It's 2.5 hours.
It's quite entertaining. Not entertaining.
Waste of time.
Did we get tagged with that already? Top law
I didn't see-
that I am delinquent.
I didn't see it.
Didn't you get the email?
I may
If you
have.
didn't get the email, then you already gave me a certificate. And you did it. Couple years ago,
Is this an annual thing?
10 years.
Oh,
I already did it then.
no wonder why it lasts 2.5 hours.
All right,
Did you meet
so
Tony?
we're on to new business, the mountain
We
bike
did.
trail.
We went to
So
Thursday.
this is the state of Connecticut is looking or working on putting a mountain bike trail in the somewhere in state land in town. I'm not really exactly sure.
I know exactly where this is. So the
I think
pond,
it's
the pond with the house on 49
Yeah.
South.
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes, that house is what they're planning on using to be the office for this.
okay,
So,
that's what I thought.
On which pond?
so it was Gallup property
Yes.
that was donated to the state. There was a house that was built in 04 and has never been lived in.
Nice.
So it was Byron.
Yeah.
Byron and his wife were building the house. She died before the house was completed. So the house has never been moved into,
Mhm.
and it's now state property as of 2018. So,
They are gonna hold a public information meeting in January.
yeah.
They haven't, they're gonna be sending me some dates so I can reserve the school for it. This is information that they sent me. The person that's designing it, designed this trail and the big one in Vermont that I can't remember the name of it right now.
Yeah,
But
because
they're
it is,
pretty good it's a good
the
company.
land that they're using is, I want to say 170 acres.
Yeah.
So it's the plot. So they're planning on doing this.
So, keep it, when I get more information and the date in January, we'll be out there for the public.
You'd be surprised at the amount of turnout on this.
Pro or con?
Information gathering. So 6 months ago, I found out about this because that house has been sitting there since 04. The state's owned it since 2018. It's on their list of properties. And I contacted the state property leasing office to attempt to lease that house, to Voluntown Scouts Inc.
Yeah.
Because it was unused. And I got strangely no response for a while. And then finally I got this, and well, we're kind of planning on using it. None of your documentation online says, it says not to be used for the next 5 years. So, there is a group that has that has, had its sights on that, but, we're not going into course trouble. We're gonna see what the plan is, and if it benefits the town, great, we'll find something else.
But couldn't you both use the property?
We were looking for to use just the house, not the property, as a scout hall for, place for meetings and for storage of equipment. So we'll figure something out.
So payroll, PR company. So. All right, so.
A little smaller next time.
I know. So this came about because Julie does our payroll and she's technically our human resource person, but we don't have any tools for that. So this payroll program includes human resources as well. And it simplifies what we already do in a
More
much
digital
easier
format
way.
rather than
Yeah.
a paper format. which
And
is
it's
what we have
digital,
now.
and it includes people checking it, like people clocking in, they can clock in on their phones, they can clock in on their computers. So, and the clocking in does everything digitally instead of Julie and I do it too. Doing the payroll manually, would still check it, and this gives more delegation. Looking into the way this program's set out, it gives more delegation to supervisors, which we already have supervisors in place. The library would be the supervisor of the libraries. We have Tom, who's the supervisor of the day staff. And then it would be me as supervisor of the town hall staff and public works staff. So this would take more,
Get rid of all the
issues.
paper copies,
Yeah.
one waiting for everybody to hand in the paper copies, it would be done each day. Everybody goes in on their computer, on their phone, clocks in and clocks out.
What's to stop somebody from clocking in on their phone or not being here?
Well, that's.
Well, it's no
the-
different than who's to say they can write it down on a piece
They
of
can
paper
still
and not
write
be
it
here.
down, yeah.
Sure, all right.
And that's where the supervisor comes in.
And not
They-
everybody has a computer to log into.
Yeah.
If you're on the DPW, that's not that.
Yeah.
All right, I
So,
understand. That answers the question.
it makes it streamlines it, it makes it quicker, instead of half a day working on payroll and tracking everyone down. She'd only have to call, the supervisors, or it should be on there, so.
So
What
the
was
benefit
the-
is,
Is the 5920,
Time.
I'm sorry,
how much time are we saving?
Well, you're gonna save time, but it also gives us more
Control of our data.
resources under human resources that we don't have now. For the same price of what it gives us some online time clock, which we don't have a time clock now. It saves more time on the payroll process. And it gives us HR resources that we don't have.
performance reviews, OSHA tracking and reporting, FMLA leave, disciplinary action, benefits administration, carrier connections, and HR support center.
Yeah, 'cause
And then digital records, HR records.
yeah, once we program everything in, it'll be able to do it consistently without us having.
Okay, so a question about digital records. Let's say this is terrific. For 3 years, and then we find something better. How are the digital records portable?
We'll ask that question, but it should be.
Yeah, they should be able to.
Because
do it.
otherwise, you don't really own your data. You're now locked in and they own your data and you're leasing it from them.
No, they should be able to do it because they do. We're a company that has nothing that they're switching to them, but they have companies switching to them all the time that already have the online.
Yes, but we're smarter than everybody
Yeah.
else. That's how we answer this question.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, no, that's a
No,
good
it's a
question.
good question. And on the back is how much we pay now. So right now we pay $5.
5924,
Yeah,
and this is 6270.
Yeah.
So
and this is added with the paid time clock and everything. We did look at another company. We didn't really like them that much.
$350 per year increase. And offloading, how many hours per week will be offloaded off
I
your
don't
plate?
know how much hours it's actually gonna streamlined, but
It's gonna make our human resources more.
some of the requirements from the auditors, like right now, I'm doing payroll and then Tracy has to do it all over again. The way the digital time clock works, it's built into that, those checks and balances, that's not built in now. So it's gonna satisfy an audit requirement, actually, more so than saves her time probably than me.
But there'll also be ways inside the program where employees can, they can get in and track their own time off instead of asking Julie or instead of whatever, they can go. in
Right, it should be, they log into the portal
They can
under their
see
account and
everything.
they'll see what their accrual, how much
Yeah.
they've accrued.
And they can also, that would be how they would request time off. That's how they would, it would all be done in there instead of separate emails to everyone, so.
And it, like you said, it digitizes everything, it's not less paper.
So if they request the time off in this digital program, does that automatically send an alert to the supervisor that, Bobby wants,
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off?
Yeah.
All right. And then it CCs.
Yeah.
Over not that I expect you to look at all that stuff, but
Yeah.
somebody's overlooking the supervisor's shoulder. Especially if there's an abuse occurring in the system.
Yeah. It'll be easier to, when they showed us the program, it just all makes so much more sense to have that than the way we do it now. So. It gives us an actual human resource thing that we don't have right now.
Component.
Yeah.
It's right over there.
Well, and it does a handbook for you, so the updates in the handbook, you can do it online with this system too, so it's not, again, all manual, going through, retyping, you put in your parameters and they'll take care of that.
My big issue would be portability.
Yeah, it has apps on the phone, so people can like put the app.
Yeah, no, I think you'll.
No, you could down, like
Oh,
even ADP right now, you do, it's part of the handbook, you put it in and then you.
That's
you
the
download
handbook
it as a
I'm
PDF.
doing, it's from AD, well, it's a combination of ADP and what we have, so.
Yeah. To your point, as long as we've got access to our own data so that we can either download it or move it to another provider, I'm completely on board with this.
I think it also allows people to go in, like if you want to change your tax form and you want more taxes or less taxes, you can go in.
Update your W-4.
Yeah. And they also have people on staff to help you with human resource
For
questions.
those that know how to do
issues,
that.
too.
Yeah.
So.
Hello, this is Bob. Can I help you? In the Philippines. Good, Bob.
So they do have people there on staff to help you out if you have.
It was a dedicated person too.
Yeah, there's people assigned to you that you work with all the time.
All right. So when you bring the system on board as part of the sign up for this thing, do they offer
Training.
3 days of, on-site training?
I don't know how much, yeah.
But I know they can give us a huge discount too when we sign on, so.
And is Julie the only person that is going to have to comprehend the system?
No. The
No, I
supervisors always do.
and Tracy does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that, she has a bad ice skating accident or something.
No.
Like, where's the password?
And that's the problem,
That's what we have now. Basically, we still have that.
that's how.
But that's why Tracy's manually, like, I put all the payroll in, and then Tracy does it all over again, but has to go in and look it all over and sign everything all over again, just so you have two eyes. This would do it so all the supervisors, all the employees put their time in, the supervisors go and approve the time. And then it's all completed by the time it gets to me, rather than me having to manually fill out forms,
Or
enter it in, and then having her approve it again, so that the approvals come before they get to me.
Yeah.
So it kind of works that way.
Do we have to consult the union to make sure that they're okay with this?
No,
No, it's not gonna change their.
Sounds good. So what do you need, a motion?
sure.
I make a motion that we move forward with APS as our payroll HR system, among other things.
I second the move to APS.
Any discussion? All right, the motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We did look at adding the digital just before the digital time clock through ADT we have now. And they wanted like an extra $400 a month.
And this is $350 per year,
Yeah.
doing the same plus more. I think it's a
Did
no
we-
brainer.
Did we vote?
We did.
Okay, so where else?
Sure,
Thank you.
attack that one.
All right, so the employee handbook revision. As much as we've got done so far, so how I've been doing this is. I downloaded and printed the ADP version, which is what we have now. Which was really generic and. Had separate ones for Connecticut, I don't know, it was generic, and then I took the one that we have now and I kind of melded them together. And I did.
Don't forget to put them.
For what?
Don't forget to put them.
What now?
We need to be accused of plagiarism.
Oh, well, I think I can plagiarize that, because I was looking at all the other towns and they all have the same thing. Very badly written, this is not gonna be badly written. So the questions I had so far. For employee grievances, I just have to make sure we have a sexual and other unlawful harassment policy, which I know we do, so I just have to incorporate that somewhere. The computer, email, and internet usage policy, we do have that somewhere too, so that'll be included.
I'm still looking for the harassment policy part.
Oh, it's not in here yet.
Oh.
The
what?
It's to
Thank
be-
you, that was a lot
It's
more
to
work.
be coming soon.
The what policy?
The harassment.
Sexual harassment
the sexual
policy.
harassment policy. I highlighted it in what I have so far, so I know that I have to make sure I included it. For life insurance,
That I know.
I guess my question for Julie, because in here it said employees may also purchase additional protection at preferred rates, but I didn't know if that was.
Okay, so what that entails is like the Public Works guys can purchase different types of personal life insurance policies, short-term disability. We go through no, what's it? Aflac. And they come and sign up and work with guys.
So that's
a bunch
only
of
for
different
union?
things. Well, that's all that has ever been full-time before,
Okay,
so. And they pay for it, so it gets deducted out of their paychecks and they pay for it.
Now, I know I asked this question once before and I can't remember what the answer is. Usually, when you have a group of employees as large as Ballin Towns, employment pool, when you had school, us and people over at the library, you should be able to qualify for a group life insurance policy. Which generally speaking, depending on your age and so forth on it, it could be cheaper for older people. And
So the answer was it's only been offered to full-time, not everybody.
right, okay.
So
Did you have a group policy?
we have what, 6 people on?
No, that's not a group policy. That's something that we might want to explore. Well, how much are we offering life insurance right now? It's probably 50,000, I guess.
yeah, because we had it.
We can
And the
have
last-
Aflac come in, no, it's Anthem, maybe come in and discuss life insurance policies with us.
I don't know if that Anthem's only health insurance, I think.
No, there's Anthem Life. That's
Oh,
where
Anthem Life, okay.
that's where I get our life
Yeah.
insurance.
But you would need to also speak to Tony, because this is the sort of thing that, they're unionized, we got our union people, so forth on. But a group policy might be more advantageous than doing these individual policies that we're buying for employees.
Okay.
And especially if the employees want to have more life insurance
Okay.
on their own dime.
Okay, but for the handbook. So they can, employees can do that, like,
Mhm.
now, do we make them wait 3 months of continuous service, or do they automatically?
For life insurance?
What was the question then?
Wait 3 months before they get it, yeah, well, the 90 days, probably the 90 days probation period.
Sure. Makes sense.
Okay,
When do they want to start participating in the deferred comp plan?
Right now, you're 100% vested at the time you start, so that's.
Sure. No, your money's always vested, but a new employee, do they also have to wait the 90 days
Mhm.
before they're?
We haven't, no.
Yeah, that's because a lot of the things aren't 90 days, so that's why I didn't know what were 90 days and what weren't.
Well, again, that's consistency up to you guys to decide. You
Well-
want to do that or not.
Because you're the person that handles all the administrative burdens here,
Mhm.
would it be easier for
Consistency.
you?
It should be. the
That's my
same.
whole point of starting all of this is
Yeah.
making it more consistent.
than
So
may-
that's why I need to know if
If-
we're gonna put the
If
90
all
days in
benefits
everything.
start at 90 days or right away.
I would say we should ask the lawyer, because there might be a Department of Labor rule that says something different than what we think is a good idea.
Well, also, going back to Public Works. If we hired someone new in Public Works,
That's another contract.
that's in
Yeah,
the
they start,
contract.
they
So-
start right away.
They start right away.
I would ask that you to ask the Department of Labor or whoever a labor attorney is. But if it turned out that was everything, yeah, you wait 90 days, makes your job easier because you got a folder with the 6 different forms for everything, health insurance, disability,
Mhm.
your life insurance at 457. And you can actually sit the person down.
I
for
think
8
that was
hours.
one of the things the payroll company too, as part of the HR, is a new employee packet.
Yeah, they do all new employees stuff.
So it helps with the benefits and all of that.
Yeah. it
So
did
I don't know
mention,
that waiting the
benefits.
90 days for all benefits is a good idea,
Waiving it or doing
doing it.
it? Okay.
But check with the labor attorney
Yeah.
because our good idea could be a really poor idea.
On all benefits?
Yeah.
Waiting 90 days.
Not waiting 90 days.
Yeah, not waiting.
Oh, okay, that's what I.
Not
thought you
waiting.
said. I
Yeah,
thought you
Do it
said-
right from the get-go.
Yeah,
Okay,
Because the Public Works is already,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think we need to check with the lawyer if we say
if we just say, okay,
day one,
Well,
it starts.
what if we terminate somebody within a probationary period because they're a exceptionally poor employee?
then I just have to-
What residual benefits carry over other than their unemployment insurance? What are we required to provide in that case?
we don't.
I'm just wondering, because in a sense, you know, if
No,
we do
because that's a
everything
good
in baseball.
question, because they do we do offer the Cobra in certain situations, but I don't think that in the list in there, of things that qualify for the Cobra, if you discontinue the health insurance, that's not one of the reasons to continue it. There's certain criteria that you have to fall into that the Cobra,
Yeah, that would be the only benefit I could think of that would potentially carry over after you.
but they'd only be able to get it in less than 90 days if they hit one of the things that triggers the Cobra, which is like really specific.
Sounds reasonable. But my point is that if everything we do is based upon, well, this is what the union wants, we might as well just unionize everybody.
No, because that's what we're trying to do, and that's why it's best, it's specific in places besides, it'll say, I think one of them is the holidays. Because the union has certain ways with holidays, and
That's 5.5 holidays. Fourteen holidays.
yeah. And the bereavement leave, we have to decide, 'cause, right, this is the policy from the ADP. But our policy is more specific right now. 5 working days of leave without loss of pay. If it's your immediate family, which is spouse, mother, father, brother, sister, daughter, son, mother-in-law, father-in-law. And then 3 working days with pay for the death of a grandparent, grandchild, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, son-in-law, and daughter-in-law, stepmother, father-in-law. And then 1 day if it's just an aunt or an uncle. But the normal like policy doesn't even include aunts and uncles. And it does include same-sex partners, which we don't even talk about at all.
That sounds like a carryover from legalizing
Hmm.
same-sex marriage,
And we don't even talk about.
because we don't cover domestic partner.
Yeah, I
If
was
we
gonna say, we
same-sex
don't talk
partner-
about domestic partner either.
Right,
so-
so we're, that sounds like a,
Well, it should be spouse or domestic partner.
Spouse or partner.
yeah,
Yeah, that's by either one. I think
Yeah.
there's no.
But then we still have to figure out the days, so.
So currently the union has the 5-day, 3 days.
5 day, 3 day, 1 day. There's not an uncle one in there too.
Well, I think if my spouse died, I'd want 5 days off. Especially if they had kids.
the aunt and uncle, that's one I've never heard of before.
I've never seen that before either.
bereavement leave,
Yeah, I've never have either. I actually remember when I was in college, I had requested the day off because for my uncle's funeral, and they refused to give it to me because it was my uncle and not an immediate family.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In college?
Yeah.
Were you working for them?
Where I was working, yeah.
And they wouldn't give it off?
Yeah. So. Because it was my
They call it
uncle,
conservative heartless.
because it was my uncle and not my immediate family. So, I remember that, but then I think it's actually like, it might have, I was in Rhode Island, so it might have been like a state waiver thing or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you go?
aunt and uncle
Yeah, I
is-
went to the funeral. My family was close, so.
Yeah, you can always take vacation or PTO. It's just, this is for defining bereavement leave.
Yeah, but they wouldn't even like let me take the day off.
Would you feel sick?
Yeah.
I have heartache. I can't come through work. Hello?
Hi, are you guys coming to get
Good
a
evening.
guy?
Yeah.
Hi, yeah, come on in.
So you know,
Hi.
we're on a meeting and you're on live stream right now.
Hello.
But we can't see you, so.
Oh.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
So were we leaving days? Or make a decision now, or?
We might need to, or we can just come back to it, think about it and come back to it. So this is a work in progress and I still have like half of it to go, so.
Well, my suggestion would be for spouse and child, 5 days. Parents and in-laws, 2 days, grandparents, a day. And siblings and same-sex partner.
We just add partner to
Okay,
start.
then siblings, 2 days.
7.
That'd be 3.
No, it should, so defining immediate family is typically, either
You are, you aren't.
it's your parents, your siblings, your offspring. So it's direct connection, not a diagonal line or a dotted line to something. Like on a genealogy chart.
What about?
That's immediate family as I've always seen it defined. So,
Mhm.
These were all defined as immediate family on this.
yeah. The grandparents and grandchild, that's, again, I've never seen that as immediate family.
We'll do this one.
We can look into that more and see.
Well, 3 for those and 5 for the others. Grandchild dies?
So what you do is you keep the bottom half.
I don't have any yet, but it would be a lot.
Yeah,
You know, you want to be able to.
Yeah.
And honestly, remember, I think I've been here 5 years and then 2 people use bereavement leave. So I mean, it's not like it's
being used rampantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't going to the casino town.
Right.
And we only. No,
Thank
not
you.
tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Um,
Happy New Year.
I don't see a problem with 5 for all of those, because no one really takes it that long anyway.
Again, we are a very small organization. So, and this is not something that is, it doesn't have a direct out-of-pocket cost to offer this as a benefit. There's the indirect cost of someone not being available for 5 days, but I
It's like
think
up
for,
to,
yeah, but I think, I like the do it 5 days rather than have different categories. So that it's a simpler policy. And in 5 years, it's bereavement leave has been used twice, so I think it simplifies it and.
Unless the plague comes back again.
Well, I was just gonna say, and that 5 years included COVID-19, so.
be out for months, so.
All right, that sounds like a good idea. 5 across the board then,
And then we don't have to worry about.
which is
the-
consistent with what it is right now.
The
correct?
union still have to follow whatever they have, and everyone else can take 5 days.
Right. So if you're non-union, your aunt or uncle. Sorry. Welcome to the PTO. But if you're union. That's 3 days, 1 day, 1 day.
So we're good with that?
Yeah.
Aunt and uncle experience over here.
Then the only other question I had was the jury duty. I had to look at the union contract and see if they had anything different for jury duty. But for some reason, Connecticut, the state of Connecticut has different laws on jury duty than other places.
Are you required to give them the day off?
Connecticut had like really specific things,
Yeah,
like weird specific.
and it all discusses pay and all that
Yeah.
too, you have to give it to them.
Yeah. That's based on Connecticut law.
Well, I recommend we follow the law.
No brainer,
And
there's an
then
easy
other
one.
than that, the only other issues that I had were.
Oh, I had one question, something did jump out at me. Military leave,
Yeah, that was,
is it actually job protection for 5 years?
yeah, that's like a law. There's actually a law. It says in the name of the law.
You, Sarah.
Yeah,
Okay, no, that, I thought you, Sarah, was 1 year, that's why I was asking.
oh, I can double check, but that's what I pulled from it, the ADP thing, so I can double check that.
Yeah.
Where is it?
The second last page, section 5.8, right above jury duty.
I can check that.
Third paragraph.
I'll double check. And then what's it called? Sarah.
Yep.
Okay. And that's as far as I got so far.
They will be treated as though they were continuously employed. For the purpose of determining benefits based on length of service. That would be important if we had pensions, but we don't.
Hmm.
True, and we don't have tiered PTO.
Well, we skipped the whole PTO thing because that's something we have to still think of too. If we
Yep.
are doing PTO, we have to come up with how we're starting people. And if we're doing the sick time, personal time thing, it's just gonna be probably what we already have. And I just need to know which one we were doing.
Is that a here or is that an executive session?
We discussed that with the lawyer yet, and I can't remember.
No, I haven't. We were gonna
Okay.
ask the attorney too.
Ask his.
We were gonna ask him if he had like a template for PTO, like for if other towns have switched, if he had gone through this before. If there was something already done that we could just look at and modify if need be, or if we.
Because that was the other reason for switching to the new payroll company and the online, because that'll track it per hour.
Yeah,
And you
Right.
can program it
Your
in
accrual
there,
rate.
and it would accrue, and it would tell everybody, and it wouldn't be something me manually having to figure out for every
which
single
is
person.
why a reason why we didn't want to do it before too, because it would be harder to track without.
But the payroll system would. Being able to get the payroll system to do it.
So we can come back to that later too.
Okay.
And then the deferred comp plan, that's gonna be executive session, too. That was my other question. All right,
Good.
so that's where that is.
Okay. Legislative agenda.
All right, so the legislative session starts, I think in January. I have a meeting coming up with Senator Summers and a meeting after Christmas with Representative Lanu to go over the legislative agenda for the next legislative session. So I've met with COST and CCM. COST is the Council of Small Towns. CCM is the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities. Both groups have put together their legislative agendas, issues that they're gonna push for this session. And we have specific needs under, so I'm gonna start by going through what they're focusing on, because those are the things that are more likely gonna get attention. Some of these things have more needs for us in them, but I want to make sure that if there's any legislation passed on any of these, that our needs are thought of too. And like for CCM, their top 10 are increased funding for local education. I've been talking to Adam, we're on track to get cuts to our ECS funding. So I want to make sure that that's addressed on here, because they want to accelerate the phase in of the ECS grant formula. But this doesn't take into account that if they do accelerate that phase in, it's going to accelerate our cuts. So I need to make sure that that's addressed. To address the shortage of paraprofessionals in school districts, to increase the pilot reimbursement to municipalities. So this affects us. We did make out better with being in the tiers, but the next issue that we need to address is our PA 490 land. And this is where collecting the data for this is where I get lost in my own worlds. 70% of the land in town is state-owned. Most of that state-owned land is in PA 490. PA 490 is a tax incentive program that the state created in the 60s, I think. It was to incentivize residents to put their land into conservation. They can put it into forest conservation or farmland conservation. The towns at the time had the option to opt into this program or just not opt in. And Voluntown residents chose to opt in. So we have a lot of residents and the state land that's in PA 490. I'm not focusing on the resident land. I'm focusing on the state land because the state land is the way PA 490 works is there's different tiers. Like you have to apply to be a part of it. Your soil gets assessed, your land gets evaluated, either a forester for forestry or someone from the Department of Ag for the farmland. And your land gets put into certain tiers. And based on your tier of your soil, it's how your property is assessed. So for forest and woodland, all of the property is assessed at $390 an acre if you're in PA 490. If that land was not in PA 490, it would be assessed close to $3,000 per acre. So the problem that we have is the state land that's in forest and forest land is all being assessed at $390 instead of $3,000, and that's affecting our formula for the pilot funding because it's looking, when they do the math, it looks like we don't have a lot of land valued in the nonprofit like part where you qualify for pilot because it's not assessed at its regular value. So I'm going to try and see if we can get it assessed at its regular value, which would increase our pilot funding.
So, for instance, when the farm up on 49 sold, well, it didn't sell. When they sold the development rights to the state,
That's completely different.
okay, that is completely different.
Yes, that's not
No.
PA 490, that is, what is it called? Connecticut farmland, something. It's a different program.
Okay,
It might still be in PA 490 because it's farmland, but when they sell the rights, that's a whole different program. That just means that, but it has to, stay as farmland. So it's different,
or an agriculture.
right? It always has to stay.
So,
PA 490 can get taken out.
so you could individually put your own residence in the property into a PA 490 program?
You cannot put the property where there's building, it has to, unless they're used for farm, like your house. The property, like it, if if you have like 20 acres and your house is on that 20 acres, it takes the property off like a certain part around your house, so the rest
Or
of
you've
it.
cleared. It is the big thing because it's trying to.
It's not
encourage-
even cleared because you can put forest in it.
Right, but so I had a neighbor who had 80 plus acres. And the property was in PA 490, except for the 3 acres that was cleared
For his yard and house.
for the house and yard, yeah. So. But you can't touch it then, you can't start doing other things with it once it's in PA 490. Because
It's
then the
conservation.
tax assessor gets involved. You come out of PA 490 because even for a resident, the significant tax advantage is similar to what the state gets.
Yeah, your land is valued at a tenth of its market value.
Yeah.
So the advantage in getting the PA 490 land marked up in value,
Just for the state land,
just for the state land, would drive a larger pilot reimbursement.
yeah.
Okay.
Because it would change the formula of the pilot, because it would.
No, the formula
raise
stays
our-
the same.
Well, it
means
would,
the
yeah,
market
the
value.
formula would stand, so the numbers in the formula would change,
Understand.
so. It would be more in our favor because it would raise our dollar amount, so,
That's good.
but I can't. I just have to get them to see that, and they see that because every time I go up and talk about pilot, I mention it and they're like, oh, that's not good. So help me fix it. So. And the other part of it too is this was a tax incentive by the state. There's other tax incentives like for veterans and seniors that the state reimburses us for. Like we get, yeah, we get reimbursed for those. We don't get reimbursed for PA 490. So it benefits residents, but it also hurts residents because it just brings the taxes up. So that's a whole nother thing, not for now, but maybe later, is to see if they reimburse for that.
Right.
But
Good point.
one thing at a time. So that's for the pilot. What else? What's going on? Legal notices, this is a big one. Right now, we have to pay a lot of money to put our legal notices in the papers. This would change that so we can put them on the town website and not have to pay that. The
Never gonna pass.
what?
That's never gonna pass.
Prevailing wage thresholds.
When our newspapers left, they failed.
Firefighter, EMT recruitment and retention, that one affects us. Shared services, just to make it easier for towns to do that. And extended producer responsibility, which is a long thing to explain, but
Got it.
and that's pretty much, removal of dead or infested trees, that affects us. Those are the ones that mostly affect us. Traffic enforcement, this one, they were talking about this one at CCM. Traffic enforcement technology, sidewalks, and bike path, and complete streets. So this kind of, someone at the CCM today, one of the mayors was talking about this this bill or proposed legislation there should be something in here to hold the state more accountable for state roads that they have in towns, like to patrol them and can help make them safer. It shouldn't just, if they're state roads, it shouldn't just be the whole town responsibility. So I was gonna reach out to her and see how more to get on her side with that, because she's a big city. And they usually listen to them more than they listen to us.
Was surprised.
Yeah. So, and the cost ones were pretty much the same. So I was just putting together a list of all the things that I just said that would benefit Voluntown to have added into these or brought up. But I didn't know if you guys had anything too that you thought might be
I wonder,
interesting.
is there state must publish statistics on pilot payments they make for various communities, right? So for instance, Luke Brennan's mayor of Hartford in the last 8 years. And the legislature's done nothing but throw money in Hartford. Because, you know, they have all that untaxed Yukon property, state buildings, so forth, so on. And it would be interesting if there was some measure where we could compare that per inhabitant or market valuation, they're getting this much. And you own all this land in the town, relatively speaking, we're getting.
And that's what I
tenth of it.
keep telling them too, is, and where it hurts us is all of the buildings and properties that the cities have, they're assessed like I was saying, they're assessed at a higher value.
Right.
So they could have less amount of land and property, but because it's buildings and like hospitals and colleges, it adds it higher than us being
Right.
land that's assessed at like practically nothing already, and then they're even assessing it lower. So,
Right, and that's the point I was about to make, was, you know, if Hartford's making a payment that relatively values the property at 50% of what its true market rate
Right.
is, they're only paying half of what a commercial would pay.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing the same thing here at the state forest, but we're getting 1/10.
right. So
You
that's
know,
what I've been
equity
trying
tells
to
us.
say to them, that like, you know, if I was a city and you were doing this to my buildings, you'd have already fixed it by now, because
Is he all set?
yeah, do this because it's a city, but they just,
You're a Republican.
they just don't listen to us.
And that's where the votes are.
So that's what we're working on. That's where I'll.
That's a good thing to push them.
That's gonna be my biggest thing, so it's just harder to explain and get them to see, so, and no one wants to touch the PA 490 at all because of the residents too, so. The residents are constituents and they don't want to look like they're going against or making it harder for the residents to have PA 490, but that's why I'm not, this isn't gonna do the resident PA 490. No.
Okay,
Onward and forward.
All right, executive session.
I make a motion, we move into executive session and include Julie.
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, any